Rene from Hooked on Mortgages, one of your hosts, and today I'm here with Joel Gonzalez.
Hey everyone.
So Joel is not only a loan officer with Real Mortgage Solutions, Joel is actually a realtor as well. So he's what they call in the industry dual licensed. And we're going to just jump right into it today, being with how the nature of the market's been the last 6 months to a year, high rate environment. Joel, what do you think sets you apart being dual licensed? Do you feel like you have any advantages or possibly any disadvantages to having your dual license as a realtor and a LO?
Actually, I would say definitely without a doubt because you're working both sides of the transaction. So you're in charge of pretty much everything from beginning to end. So you actually like prepare the client already with the pre-approvals and stuff, and then you go shopping with the client and set the right expectations. Now, advantages I would say like that I've done before that every dual agent I feel like they use that towards their advantages. You can negotiate commissions because you're getting paid on both ends. So sometimes just to make the deal work, maybe you have to like cut a little, but it doesn't really hurt too much, like I said, because you're getting both sides of the transaction. So that I've noticed with me at least, I've gained throughout the years a lot of investor clients because I don't gotta charge them the full, commission, the full rib. I could go ahead, look, we already shop, I'll say, 5, 6, 7 plus homes already. I'll go ahead and this is like your flat fee with me, and then they already trust me. And especially I would say because since you're dual license and you see like both ends, you gain a lot of knowledge.
Yeah, so it definitely helps with picking up clients and possibly that relationship that you have with your clients, you're able to cultivate a little bit better and possibly have repeat clients with your past database because they remember you from both sides of the transaction.
Absolutely, like that's exactly what. And I do feel when I was just a single agent, no mortgage broker license, I did feel that I was dealing a lot more with like first time home buyers a lot of the times compared to once I became dual license. I started noticing the trend that I started dealing more with investor clients than anything else. And at that point, my job got easier, to be honest with you, because first time home buyers, is a journey. Compared to investors, this is not their first rodeo. They know exactly what to expect, they know the ins and the outs. And honestly, that makes your job so much easier. And like I said, based on all the knowledge that you do gain from it, because you're doing a lot more transactions, just the way that you speak or just like, the conversations that you're in, it just builds so much more trust, and it'll take you a long way. I honestly say I definitely became a lot more successful in my career once I became dual license.
How do you manage being able to do both of them? If you're predominantly dealing on the real estate side with buyers, whether they're investors or first time home buyers, do you have someone that assists you with the process of showing the homes? Because the mortgage side's got to be demanding in the sense where you got to be on a computer preparing a pre-approval, or you got to be sending out an AUS to realtors, a pre-approval letter. How do you time block? How do you set time apart to be able to handle both?
You pretty much said it right there, Renee. I time block. So first and foremost, to even get to the nature of actually doing multiple transactions, because I counted like, yeah, I maybe did 5 deals this month, but I also did 5 real estate deals. That's a total of 10 transactions. That's a lot of talking. That's a lot of time, effort on the computer, talking to the listing agents, talking to the title companies, talking to the so it just completely like, you know, takes your time away. And I will say for me, my biggest like relief is having a good team behind it. So for I can honestly say for the mortgage side, they help me out a lot. So they really take me from point A to point Z. And I'm not saying it because I work with you, Renee. I'm saying it because it's the real deal. You saw my production when I first started the company like 3 years ago compared to what I'm doing now. And you clearly see that it has grown, in my comfort levels is because you guys take a huge load off me because I'm out also looking for new clientels and doing the showings and doing, all the convincing and talking to the clients and from A to Z. But what I do that works for me is Monday to Friday is pretty much mortgage and phone. So I usually am at my home office, just taking care of business of all the transactions that we have, because if not, you'll never get it to go to where it needs to go to the end of the finish line. And then Saturdays and Sundays, I try not to do it on Sundays, but so sometimes you have to do it depending on your client's schedule. Those are the days that I do the showings. So I usually just do showings. I'll say from 9 a.m. to I'll say like 3 of those days, and then I usually try to get under contract that weekend so that way I could process the loan Monday, and then just continue the same process through, and that's what's been working for me this year.
All right, this may be I wouldn't say it's a controversial question, or want to make you pick sides. But if you had to do just one, whether it be you strictly be a loan officer and deal with the mortgages and the buyers on the mortgage side, or pick of just being a real estate agent while you're dealing with just listing transactions, rentals, which I know a little bit about your background. You dealt with rentals when you first came in. You had your niche, if you will, of how you essentially obtained all the clients you have now through doing the rentals. But not to put you on the spot, if you had to pick one, which one would you pick, and what would be your top reason of why?
All right, so I've done both, right? So I've done just real estate, and then I just done mortgage, and then I put both of them together and made my own little mix. That's how I became a good dual agent. If I had to pick one, all right, when I used to do real estate, just real estate, man, this is like a little bit over 10 years ago. I had a lot more free time, but I was at the same time not closing as much as I am when I started doing mortgages. The reason being is that mortgages you could handle a lot more compared to the fact. So I could handle easily about 6 to 8 mortgage deals a month and not go crazy. Now 6 to 8 transactions of people calling me, oh my God, Joe, I don't know if I want to go ahead and buy this one because of the kitchen and all that therapy and all that talking. It's like I done it, and that's how I went. Like I was just 5 years of real estate first, and then I was like, I'm about to quit this because I'm not no therapist over here. And then I had a good friend, shout out to Gonzalo over there, and to you too, Rene. I saw you guys, like doing your mortgage, your mortgage thing. I seen you guys post on social media, this and that. I was like, okay, let me go ahead and join that route because I don't want to quit real estate, because real estate, actually, I do like the freedom that it allows me to have, because me on a 9 to 5, it's like it's torture. So I went that route and I grew from that route. So I do like the mortgage side more, except I'm stuck at home more, but I'm making a lot more money. A lot more money. That impacted my real estate to make a lot more money. So if you're looking for stability, honestly, and also like really like get to learn the business in depth in like a profound way that you never thought you'll know, that like like structuring loans and like seeing like what the banks want and like really putting things together from A to Z, that's the mortgage world for you. So for me, I would say the mortgage at this point of my life. In my 20s, real estate all day.
Yeah, with real estate, my hat's off to the realtors, because that it's a demanding job at the end of the day. A lot of the realtors, unfortunately, some of them may see it as, hey, you have a buyer, you go show them a house, you write the contract, and that's it. There's nothing else to it. But there are a lot of good realtors out there that, go beyond the contract And me personally, I could never do it. I don't have the patience like some of the things you mentioned. You get called or you're on your 10th showing of the day with a particular buyer, and they're like, hey, I don't like the paint on this wall. And you're thinking on the back of your head like, well, you could just paint this wall, like it's not a permanent thing. Or, well, I don't like where this window's at. I personally don't have patience for that. On the mortgage side, like you said, you could do it anywhere in the world. It's we've been lucky to find the programs that we have, and everything's IP based or web based, if you will, or you can work anywhere in the world. And it's same as real estate. You kind of set your own limitations as how much you make and how much you earn. And at the end of the day, it's a very rewarding path either way you look at it. Whether you're on the realtor side or the mortgage side, we're helping people obtain, whether it be their first home, their second home, or their 10th investment property. It's a very rewarding career in both aspects, monetary and you're actually doing something good. Leading into my next question, what good stories would you be able to share, like maybe a successful transaction, whether it be on the real estate side or the mortgage side, that may have not closed or something may have happened? Like, what successful story or happy ending, if you will, throughout your tenure, whether it be in real estate or mortgage, like what's the best one that you can think of?
Well, one thing about this business, as you know, Rene, you develop short-term memory. So after 6 months, my brother, that's all I got. There's a lot of rejection, a lot of fails. So you got to get back up. So you got to develop. To be a strong dual agent, you got to have short-term memory. That's first and foremost. So I'll give you a story. Let's go with the story that we just closed not that long ago, because it's pretty recent in my mind. This is the Garrido file. I was a dual agent on that file. The client is actually one of my good friends, a best friend from Cuba. His wife is currently pregnant. Well, she just gave birth last week. And it was pretty funny, just to the fact that she was working. I basically told her, Rene, I was like, look, girl, I know you're 8.5 months pregnant, but you're going to have to finish work until we close this deal. And she was looking at me like, you're crazy. And I'm like, you're going to be working. She worked all the way till 2 days before giving birth to make sure that that's how bad she wanted that house, that she literally went and worked literally the full 9 months. I told your wife, and we laugh about it all the time, and we're like, man, I can't believe, like, that's one person that deserved that house. And, everything worked out the way that it needed to work out, and everybody's happy at the end of the day, and that's what we're here for. We're here, honestly, not just to make commissions and show off, and here's the key, and like we're the best, we're the top. But the truth of the matter is, at least for me, and this is what makes me, in my eyes, successful, is I build relationships. I don't build transactions, and all my clients are my friends, and that's why I have so much repeat business. And I feel that when you get in the industry, if you have that mindset instead of next, you're going to be extremely successful.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it is a transaction. And unfortunately, some people, like we see it all the time with the files that come through on the mortgage side, that they get treated like a number. And at the end of the day, I learned early on in my career, even before the mortgage industry. I worked in the restaurant business for 7 or 8 years. I learned early on that it isn't about the order in that case or about the food. It's about the service you provide. 100%. I always taught the guys that worked for me under me when I was managing that it didn't matter that the food that was going out the door was perfect and that it was always perfect. But mistakes do happen, and what really mattered is what type of service or what type of reaction was that client going to get out of you when things weren't going right, or whether the food order wasn't right. And that's going to determine how you're going to get their future business. And that, to me, translated into our real estate world that we're in now. We don't work in a perfect environment. Things are always going wrong within transactions. My model is a transaction is probably going to go sideways 3 times by the time it closes. It can be the perfect file. W-2 employee, the assets are in the bank. You might have something weird coming up on the inspection. The appraisal may have missed the value by $1,000. And, there may have been something on title that came up that's an issue. But those 3 hurdles we had to cross to get there. How you react to that and how the people within the transaction react to that to get to the finish line is what really makes that transaction. And if you don't panic, everyone within the transaction works together for that ultimate goal of getting this client into their house. That's what's really rewarding, and that's what maybe a title company or that listing agent or that buyer's agent says, wow, this loan officer did an incredible job. He really handheld us throughout the process to get us there, rather than like, wow, things were in shambles. This guy disappeared. He didn't answer the phone. He was nowhere to be found. And that's it. Your referral from everyone within that transaction, your possibility of a referral is gone. It's non-existent anymore. So, that's a good point that you brought up, and it's not easy to do that. It's not easy to answer your phone at all times of the day. And especially when you're dual agent, you're being pulled from 2 different directions. You may have a client that, hey, I want to go see a house today. This house just came up on the market. It might be in a hot area, and you might have to bite the bullet and go and do it. So that's great. We thank you for coming on. I appreciate it. We look forward to having you again.
Appreciate you guys. Love the show. Definitely coming back. Thank you, everybody.